And one of the multitude answered and said, Master, I have brought unto thee my son, which hath a dumb spirit. The same incident that we reviewed in Matthew, verse 18. And wheresoever he taketh him, he teareth him, and he foameth and gnasheth with his teeth, and pineth away. And I spake to thy disciples that they should cast him out, and they could not. He answered him and saith, O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him unto me. And they brought him unto him, and when he saw him, straightway the spirit tare him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming. And he asked his father, How long is it ago since this came unto him? And he said, Of a child. Okay, so perhaps it doesn't say I'm not sure of his age. It doesn't say his age, but it says since he was a child. So perhaps he's older than I originally thought. And ofttimes it hath cast him into the fire and into the waters to destroy him. But if thou canst do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Yahawashi said unto him, If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. There's a big clue there to the working of miracles. Matthew chapter 24, verse 9, chapter 24. And straightway the father of the child cried out and said with tears, Lord, I believe, help thou mine unbelief. And when Yahawashi saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the foul spirit, saying unto them, Thou dumb and deaf spirit, I charge thee, come out of him, and enter no more into him. And the spirit cried and rent him sore, and came out of him. Got one last dig at the guy, and came out of him, and he was as one dead, insomuch that many said, He is dead. But Yahawashi took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he was come into thy house, his disciples asked him privately, Why could we not cast him out? So I will stop it there, and let's take a look at some of the previous verses that we read, because it describes the account differently. It provides us more information, and I think this can be very edifying. So first area I wanted to go to was, my son hath a dumb spirit. Dumb, let's take a look at this word. I believe that means he cannot speak. He's mute. Okay. Outline of biblical usage: speechless, dumb, wanting the faculty of speech. So he was unable to speak because of his affliction. And then the next word is spirit. So it's a different way of describing the affliction, perhaps a little more specific. A dumb spirit, he's unable to speak. And certainly and I'll have to find articles on this, but the various modern, we'll say modern medicine, views and understanding of how people are unable to speak with various conditions. I wouldn't be surprised, and we're already discussing it, that it is and can be, perhaps not always, parasitic in nature. This word spirit. Okay, certainly not that. Let's see which definition here makes the most sense. Talks about air. Okay, I'm surprised it doesn't actually quite give this a little bit more clearly, but because we're not talking, of course, in this case, we're certainly not talking about the Holy Spirit. Neither the human soul, but okay, here we go. This is a little bit more. This is more relevant. Superhuman, an angel, demon, or divine. So this is kind of what we're going into, right? Angel, demon, and again, we examined the word demon and devil before. And that's how it was used to describe in the account in Matthew, I believe, devil. Right. Okay. So let's examine the next verse. So here we see that the demon is described as tearing at him, which is very interesting. And then it says that the boy, the afflicted son, was foaming and gnashing with his teeth. We know that when people are going through epileptic seizures, that can occur. Let's get more edification into these words. Tereth. That would really be something to see. To rend, burst, or break asunder, break up, break. To distort, convulse. Of a demon causing convulsions, a man possessed. To dash down, hurl to the ground. Common occurrence in cases of demon possession and epilepsy. See that connection there? Common occurrence in cases of demon possession and epilepsy. And epilepsy, as we've discussed and saw in the article from Science Nordic, is caused by, it can be caused by pork tapeworms residing in the human brain. Continue on. Foameth and gnashes with his teeth. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. But let's just get, okay, foameth to foam, sure. And gnasheth. Let's see if there's additional understanding. To squeak, make a shrill cry, to gnash or grind one's teeth. Of course, characteristic of what happens during epileptic seizures. Moving down. So as the spirit was exiting the man, or excuse me, the afflicted son, says the spirit tear him, to convulse, to tear. Okay, so he's probably just shaking even more uncontrollably as the spirit was exiting him. Oh, actually, there was additional edification there I wanted to read. Prolongation from this Greek word here. To grasp, apparently strengthened from, through the idea of spasmodic contraction. To mangle, i.e. convulse with epilepsy, rend, terror. Okay, so he's just it was probably even more intense seizure than normal as the devil was exiting him. And then it looks like he was rolling around, right, rolling around on the ground. So this word here, a rolling, wallowing, to roll itself in mud, to wallow in the mire. Like a pig, how ironic. So then the Messiah asks him again, how long did he have this? And he said, as a child. Potentially he had consumed pork as a child. I believe this is an Israelite Gentile, but I would have to go back and check. He possibly could have consumed pork as a child. Raw, undercooked pork, even if it was cooked. I don't believe the parasites in pork, tapeworms specifically, their eggs and their cysts get destroyed through cooking, even if it is fully cooked. Perhaps he could have acquired it from many other means as well. And oftentimes it had cast him into the fire. So this is interesting. Into the fire and into the water to destroy him. So this is where you start, again, the reason why I go into this is it's to tie this concept of devil possession by devils and the physical symptoms. Now it's interesting in this case because it says it oftentimes hath cast him into the fire and the waters, which tells me that there's more to the story than just casting him down on the ground, which again I'm sure happened quite often, but it says oft times into the fire and into the water. So sort of perhaps belies, if that's the right word to use here, that there is an intelligence going on behind the scenes. And as we examine from the word demon, which directly relates to devil, we also saw that intelligence was incorporated into there as well. So it's not just willy-nilly throwing him on the ground, but into specific places. And let's see. Okay, excuse me, I think I referenced before. This is where the spirit is coming out of him. But again, these evil spirits are quite intelligent, so clearly it knew what was going on when the Messiah was there. There are accounts where this isn't the account, but there's one account specifically where the spirit addresses the Messiah before exiting its victim. So he rebukes the spirit. The spirit cries. This is Matthew chapter 28. Let's go into this word, cried. Croak, cry of a raven, cry out, aloud, vociferate, speak with a loud voice. So the afflicted son is the demon, I'm assuming most likely, is crying out through the afflicted son. And rent him sore, and came out of him. So let's take a look at rent him sore, which I'm understanding this as, right, continued convulsions. Okay. As this Greek word denotes. Sore probably is a description of how he was rented from the Greek word polis, perhaps. And it says many, much, large, right? So it's a description of how it was. So a very wild convulsion going on here. And he was then as one dead. So it looks like the convulsion stopped.